Holy crap. The Gorn are quite a bit different than they are in the original series, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Jesus.
A bit.
Ready for Strange New Worlds?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Strange New World season 2. We watched the last half of this season this week.
Yeah.
But I did end up watching it all because my daughter hadn't seen any of it, so I ended up rewatching.
So let's go through these episode by episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So episode 6 was Which one was episode 6? Let me dig up the list.
Yeah.
You know what? I wish there was a computer in front of me. Oh, wait a minute. Well, the nice thing about Strange New Worlds is it does
episode
actually like
6 was Lost in Translation.
All right. Oh, yeah. Ahura seems to be the only one who can hear a strange sound that trigger terrifying hallucinations. Yeah. That one, that was the one where we kind of get Hemmer back. It's not really Hemmer. It's Ahura's memories of Hemmer. And it was nice to see that actor back playing the role for a bit. This episode actually didn't thrill me. It was overall fine, but like there's kind of weird horror elements to it. Essentially, the whole story is based around they're going to set up a deuterium mine, I believe, in this nebula. But there's actually life forms in the deuterium, so they can't do that because they're killing them when they do that.
This one didn't do much for you.
Yeah, what was your thought?
I thought the vivid, like I guess hallucinations best they were.
Yeah, there were some cool stuff they did with that.
There was some cool stuff that they did with it. A lot to play around with. Definitely something that we've kind of seen in Star Trek before, but not done to this degree. I did enjoy it. I liked this one. I thought this one was pretty good. Yeah, that was a thumbs up for me on this episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I'd quite give this one a thumbs down, but it wasn't one of my favorites for sure. And this was another one to have Kirk. I believe Kirk was in 3 episodes this season.
Yeah, he was in a few of these.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was one of them. And then, the next one was the Lower Decks crossover.
Where we see a live action Jack Quaid. Yeah, I'll say, you know what? After this one, I might have stopped and watched a couple of episodes of Lower Decks, and then went, okay, I need to get back on like watching the show because I know you told me to watch it before, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what the banter was. I also appreciated that this one had a different intro.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. That was one of those things I was kind of hoping they did. The Lower Decks version of the Strange New Worlds intro, which was great. There's even a couple of clips of the Enterprise, that strange squid thing from Lower Decks on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this episode's mostly live action, but there's definitely animated elements. And then you do get the live action version of Boimler, and then eventually you get the live action Mariner. They encounter this strange beacon of some sort that they accidentally activate, and it sends Boimler back to the past, and he encounters Pike and Spock and Una and the whole cast. And Boimler, as you can expect, is just nerding out like you wouldn't believe. He is trying not to absolute fanboy out over the whole thing, but he is failing miserably. He keeps on, and one of the fun things I thought was that like he's giving them advice. Like there's an Orion ship that comes by, and they're like, "Oh, Orion pirates, we need to be careful." And he's like, "Actually, that's an Orion science ship." And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, like Orion's got a terrible reputation. That's actually a science ship. We don't have to worry. It's totally a pirate ship."
It's totally a pirate ship, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the history got rewritten, so like Boimler researched it and knew it was listed as a science ship, which it does get noted as that, but it's there to steal the beacon and run away. And that it was kind of a fun thing, just showing how like Boimler's familiar with all the textbook history, but like the textbook history isn't 100% accurate, so he's getting some stuff wrong. Kind of just fun elements there.
That was a nice touch. I did appreciate that fact too.
Yeah, this one I couldn't help but enjoy. Just being a fan of Lower Decks and then just seeing some live action Lower Decks characters, and then seeing a bit of the Strange New Worlds characters in animated form was also a great touch.
Yeah, that was cool. That was pretty cool at the end.
Yeah, I do think it's clever how like Lower Decks is in canon with all these Star Trek shows, and it kind of works strangely enough, and the crossover was pulled off probably about as well as it could have. I mean, I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it was a solid crossover.
Now, in the moments that they did tell the people of the past about the future, I thought it was nice, especially that the number one was told how it's like, no, you're the whole reason I joined Starfleet. Like that, that was a nice moment, and that was cool, and that also kind of made me want to watch it a little bit more. Like, maybe I should check that show out.
Well, it's on the schedule, I think, for next month, I think. So we will be diving into Lower Decks.
Yeah, you see, the next one is the Cloak of War, or Under the Cloak of War.
Shit, man, that was dark as fuck. Oh
yeah,
my God,
man! And
I know what.
Just like the first time I asked for Klingons, and I wasn't disappointed. I was not disappointed with this one,
dude. This. It's close between this. Like, I like the dark ones for this half the season. Not to dismiss the Lower Decks crossover, because that was fun. But yeah, this is just, God, this is dark. We get to go into M'Benga and Chapel's history of the war. Essentially, this whole story is about a Klingon ambassador who's known as the Butcher of Jabal, I want to say, is the name of the place. So. Yeah,
and he was a defector.
Yeah. But he reportedly killed his own men and defected. And M'Benga and Chapel both have history on that battleground, and they know some of the details. Chapel doesn't know the full details, but like M'Benga knows the full details of exactly what happened. And God damn, this is intense. Dark storytelling. Like, I get why they put the lighter ones like around this one, because this is insane. Like, throughout this season, we've gotten some knowledge that knowing M'Benga is combat fluent, which is not something I don't think we really explored in season 1.
He's effective.
Yeah, he's very effective in combat. But yeah, this is the episode where you kind of see some of the shit he's had to do. Some of the shit he went through during the Klingon War in Discovery season 1 was hell, and you get to see a lot of it here. This is just a dark episode that with a morally ambiguous ending, like brutally morally ambiguous.
Yeah, this one kind of made you stop and stare at your screen for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and two, you bring up a good point, because I think I might have brought it up last time we talked about this, but I'll bring it up again. Discovery's Klingons, like where they changed the makeup, I'm not a fan, and I am very grateful that Strange New Worlds kind of brought them back quite a few steps and made them a bit more like, I don't want to say classic Klingons, because they're not classic Klingons, like TNG era Klingons. The Strange New Worlds Klingons are more like TNG Klingons than they are Discovery Klingons. Although there's a little bit of Discovery elements to them, but they're much more brought back. Oops, I didn't mean to take that down. But yeah, what was it? The Under the Cloak of War, fantastic episode. Well, here's the episode that people seem to want to yell about, the Subspace Rhapsody, the musical. What were your thoughts, Bobby?
I'm impartial to musicals. I really don't have much of a strong opinion. Like, I don't mind them or anything like that.
Yeah, well, much like last
I
week's
did
Demeter, I did feel this one drag a bit.
Yeah, it went a little too long. I admittedly did skip through a few times. Like, okay, I'm gonna skip this song.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. This cast is really talented. This is actually very impressive of all of them. But I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So, I think the beginning and ending of this episode are actually pretty strong and pretty funny. Like, I'm laughing quite a bit throughout the beginning and ending. I think the premise is great. Like, there's a subspace tear. They're trying to figure out if they can get a message through. So they experiment by sending a song, and it causes this ripple effect where all of a sudden they can't control it and they break into musical numbers. And possibly the funniest element about that, and you get to see a little bit of that, is that they're actually next to Klingon space. So Klingons are now doing this as well. And they are talking about, we have to stop this grave dishonor.
Like them singing sad, like, woe is me songs in Klingon. That would have been great.
No, they do some goofy stuff. And what hurts this episode is, obviously you're going to have a middle section. So you get the setup, you get the conclusion. So you got your act 2. And your act 2 just has to carry the story forward. And if it's a musical, your act 2, you need to have bangers. You need to knock it out of the park. And the act 2 songs were probably the most forgettable ones. I mean, there's highlights, but it didn't really thrill me. And that was kind of what hurt this episode. Great premise, funny beginning, funny ending, middle. So I won't call it one of the best at all, but it was entertaining enough. I will say that. It
was filler for what's about to come.
Yeah. Well, are we at the finale? Yeah, we're at the finale. Oh my God. Holy crap. The Gorn are quite a bit different than they are in the original series, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Jesus.
A bit. We did get a great payoff in this one, though. A great payoff. We finally met another legacy character in this one.
Yes.
Before we get into anything about this, I want to talk about, Scotty, that we got Scotty finally, which we heard his voice in the finale of the last one. We heard a Scotsman talking. I think, like, when we talked about it, you completely missed that. I was like, wait, was he Scottish? I was like, yes. I know the rhetoric. I know the back and forth. I know the confused look on Spock's face. That was Scotty. But yeah, this was great. Like, just what are your thoughts, man? Like, I loved everything about this episode.
No, this episode was like what was it? Under the Cloak of War was this dark, gritty, like morally ambiguous story. And God, it's Hegemony is the name of the finale. And this is just an intense story. Again, just absolute intense. The Gorn in this series are wild. Like, they are drastically different from original series Gorn. They are kind of fucking terrifying. I don't know how their ships are so tough, but they do damage very quickly. Essentially what you get is Chapel is on Patel's ship. I don't remember the name of it, but they're traveling to this. They're traveling, I think, back to Federation space, and they stop this planet, probably to pick up some people. And then a Gorn ship attacks, destroys her ship, and a whole bunch, maybe 40 of them or so, are left on the ground. Enterprise, going against orders, just being the one nearby, decides, fuck it, we're gonna go try to save them. And I do one thing I will criticize is I think the Federation is being weird, because half of the area is in Gorn space and half it is in Federation space, and they're saying don't go into Gorn space, and I'm like, they just blew up one of your ships. Why are you holding back?
Kidding me? Yeah, no, I thought that was a little
that
weird.
element.
I was like,
weird.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, they blew up one of our ships. Fuck them.
I'm obeying. I'm obeying an order at that. I'm obeying a direct order at that point.
But I mean, I guess he's already pushing his luck by going there against their orders. But so they're trying to do the rescue mission.
They're really piss him off then.
Yeah, they are skirting the rules quite a bit because there's this spot they have to destroy on the other side of the planet, and they literally just use the wreckage of the ship to blow it up, to kind of drift it across and launch it where it needs to go. So they're definitely toying with the rules a bit. But you brought up Scotty already, and God, that was a great introduction. So like the Enterprise crew shows up and the planet is just fucking wrecked. And then they get stuck in this booby trap, and the person who set the booby trap pops up, and it's this guy with this red shirt and outrageous Scottish accent who's an engineer. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, he's like, I'm an engineer, first class. And I was like, fucking Montgomery.
Yes. And then you find out like it's not even like he was on this planet. He's like been like, it seems like he's been running from the Gorn for a little while now.
Yeah.
And he's just been like fucking using his engineering talents to get through, and it's kind of fucking badass. So like it's a great introduction to the character. And like, and I mean, we're spoiling the crap out of this, but like I don't even know how far we can spoil, because as per Star Trek classic rules, this is a cliffhanger.
Yeah, something that they're really good at doing. Like,
yeah, no, this
apparently
like this happened. It said to be continued at the end of this episode. Like essentially, the Gorn have fucked up everything. They're finally able to beam people off the planet, and then they beam the captain, they beam his girlfriend off, and Scotty. So they all make it back to the Enterprise. They get Scott and Chapel off the ship, and they get back to the Enterprise. But then, like, I want to say Ortega, Leanne, Mabanga, and Sam Kirk, along with a whole bunch of the refugees, are left on the planet. They try to bring them up, and they realize they're gone, only to find out, oh, fuck. The Gorn beamed them up.
Yeah.
And then essentially we get that to be continued, and it's like,
well,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was like they were asking for what's Pike, what's our move? What's our move? And just to be continued. I'm like, fuck.
You bastards. They're best of both worlds to me. I remember when I was a kid and I got that cliffhanger of Picard being a fucking Borg, Riker giving the order of fire, and then to be continued. And I remember being like, so we get the next one next week, right? No, you gotta wait for it. I'm like, no, and they did it again. Star Trek does this great. I kind of got used to it because TNG did it a few times, DS9 did it a few times, Voyager did it a few times. So now it's kind of remind me, it's like, oh yeah, maybe I should start expecting that again from these series, because these series I think are doing a good job. And God, that was a hell of a cliffhanger. I can't wait.
That was a hell of a cliffhanger. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I hope that everything gets resolved with the strikes and the studio.
I know. We get that cliffhanger, and it's like, wait, how long is it going to take? Because I was actually kind of hoping the actors going on strike would bring it kind of the actors and the writers together and make a deal faster. But the actors have been on strike for, I think, over a month now.
This
is going to have an impact. So we will see how it turns out. But end of the day, Strange New World Season 2. Awesome. Definitely more good moments than bad. I think I probably prefer this to Season 1.
Yeah.
Just definitely. Because I think the good stuff is so good. Like, I feel like there's probably a bit more weaker episodes this season than there are in Season 1. But like, when this season knocked it out of the park, it just fucking knocked it out of the park. Whereas I feel like Season 1 didn't knock it out of the park quite as well. So
I think that they were playing it safe with Season 1, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's new Star Trek. Let's face it. This fan base can be as critical as any other fan base, and
they're all getting that way anymore.
They really are. And I'm just
the new stuff sucks. Where's the old stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I just think a lot of people just forget the fact that, there was a time period when we weren't getting new formats of this. Like, it was just what we had was what we had, Star Wars in particular. And I just think that we should just appreciate the fact that we're getting new stuff.
Yeah. As long as it's decent stuff, I don't know why you're complaining. And like,
it's obvious why. They're people complain just to grift and grift. Grift. That's about it.
Yeah, you can make money on the algorithm for being outraged at this stuff. And honestly, I'm sorry. Like, so far, the new Star Trek stuff, Picard's probably my least favorite series, and I still think that's overall good. And while I wasn't a fan of Discovery Season 1, everything else I've enjoyed, just flat out. So, like, and I do feel like there's a lot of grifting just based on the fact that, like, most people didn't like Discovery Season 1. So if Season 1 sucks, it all sucks. Guys, TNG Season 1 was a shit show. Discovery Season 1 was so much better than TNG Season 1.
That first season is hard to get through.
Dude,
it's a little rough.
Atrocious.
A little rough at times.
I mean, Season 2 got better, but like TNG Season 2, it got better, but like there's still some rough patches there. It wasn't until Season 3 where it really hit its stride. And Star Trek having a weird first season is common. I mean, I think we're lucky with Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks just kind of hitting their stride fairly quickly and having decent Season 1s. But I think it's a good time to be a Star Trek fan, frankly. And if you're not checking it out because people are yelling at you to telling you it's bad, don't believe them. Go check it out.
Yeah, watch it for yourself. Form your own opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.